It's that time of the year. One room is hot, one room is cold, grandma's upset. Let's solve this problem of hot and cold spots within the house. And I'm gonna tell you exactly how you can do something about it. Let's dive in. Hot and cold spots within a home, there's several variables that I wanna go over. Sometimes they're very simple fixes, and sometimes they're a little bit more complicated. And so I've got a layout of a general 2,000 square foot house. Let's just say for easy math, you've got a 5-ton system on this home. So what can cause hot and cold spots? So let's say this bedroom over here is warmer than what you want it to be. Some things that I would look for. Rule number one, make sure you don't have a disconnected duct. I can't tell you how many times I've been in homes where they have a hot spot in the house and they've got a ductwork that's barely connected to the system. So they're getting a little bit of airflow, but they're not getting all the airflow that they could have. Make sure that that duct is connected to that room that you're struggling with. And so you have to, sometimes this requires, if you have the capability of going up in the attic and seeing where your system is located at, make sure that that duct has not fallen off. And if you're not capable, call a company that is capable of checking that for you. Make sure that the ductwork is connected. That's a pretty easy fix. It's a very cost-effective way to make sure that room is getting the airflow that it needs. Also too, whenever a system is sized appropriately, you want to make sure that you have enough return air. And I'm going to give you just a general rule of thumb. A 5-ton system will typically need 3 returns. So 3 returns, sized appropriately. If you've only got 2 returns on that system, I would be concerned. And there's more formulas that you can go into and to figure out what size of return do I need, and how do I know that I have enough? And a very easy way to figure that out is how many returns do you have in home? A 5-ton system will have anywhere from 3 to 4 returns. I'm just going to put R for easy understanding. So 3 to 4 returns. And so making sure that you've got enough airflow going back to the system. Making sure that you've got plenty of return air that's centrally located. All right. Fix number 2. Let's say the supply ductwork is the issue. Let's say everything's connected and you still got hot and cold spots. On a lot of homes, there may be, we'll say, dampers in front of every single one of these supplies. Make sure that the dampers aren't closed. Because if the dampers are closed, they're little mechanisms that shut off airflow to the room at the supply plenum, and if those are closed, they're not letting airflow get to that specific room. And so make sure that those dampers are completely open. That's a very easy thing to do. And so if you are capable, have at it. If you don't feel like you are capable of doing that, call a licensed professional to come out and check that for you. Other things that I would consider as well. So if you've got, let's say the living room is just struggling. And let's say your supply ductwork, whenever it comes off, and I won't get into necessarily the sizing of the supply ductwork, but let's just say, hey, I just know that I'm uncomfortable in this living space. Will it harm my system if I add another supply duct? Typically, no, it will not. It will not harm your system if that specific room is really struggling to kind of keep up. I don't have an issue at all at adding a second supply ductwork or increasing the size of duct that goes specifically to that room. And so that's a very easy thing to do for the most part. It's a little bit more of an expensive endeavor if you're hiring a licensed professional to do it, because it just takes time to do, and running ductwork appropriately can be very important. But adding a duct to a specific room that you want more airflow in does not hurt my feelings whatsoever. And so I would not be concerned about adding a duct. So if you have questions about the sizing, it's like, am I capable of adding a duct? I would always recommend hiring a licensed professional come out and do a calculation and making sure that one that's possible. And so, and a lot of times they can come out and differentiate, between like, hey, are we shy on return air, or can we add another supply duct? I'm going to step back for a second. I talked about return air, making sure that you have plenty of return air. And I don't think I did a good job as to telling what symptoms you may be experiencing or why it's important to make sure you have enough return air. So your system is designed to do 2,000 CFM of airflow. If your return air is undersized, it will choke down the amount of airflow that can cycle through that system. And so it'll increase the static pressure on that equipment. And then also too, that affects how much airflow can be delivered by throughout your supply ductwork. And so increasing your return air, and it's not uncommon for me to see houses that have return airs that's undersized by, gosh, anywhere from 40 to 50% as far as capacity is concerned. I've seen where a return air is only delivering 1,000 CFM back to that unit at a 0.05 static pressure. I want to make sure that that return air is sized appropriately for 2000 CFM. If it's shy, the supply ductwork is going to struggle providing that airflow to each one of those rooms. And so, and oftentimes that will help with the balancing as well. And so, quick cap on return air. Make sure you have enough. Make sure you're getting enough return air to accommodate for the tonnage of your system. You may say, Colby, I don't have a 5-ton system. I don't have 2,000 square feet. What can I do, or how can I learn what the CFM per tonnage? Anyways, I've got a very easy chart to kind of look at real quick to kind of help explain that. So CFM according to the tonnage. I've also got mapped out return air, and so feel free to pause this video and look at these and just kind of differentiate between, okay, well, what's my tonnage, how much square foot, how much CFM is available for that tonnage, and then how many returns are typically used to accommodate for those tonnages. And so if you got a 3-ton, 1200 CFM, and typically we want to see 2 to 3 return airs on that system. And so very easy to look through. Look at this, compare that to what you have in your house to figure out what tonnage do I have, how much CFM do I have available, and then do I have 2 to 3 returns. And I kind of put ranges here because the size of a return air does matter. And so I want to make sure you kind of differentiate between the size of that return air does matter. And so you want to make sure that it's sized appropriately. So super easy. Last notes on hot and cold spots. Construction, how the house was built, how many windows do you have in that specific room, and what type of insulation you have also plays a role. I have seen homes where you've got insulation that may have been removed or blown to the side, or maybe you've had some electrical work done recently, or insulation is no longer where it should be. That can play a big role in making sure that the energy that you're paying for stays within the home and doesn't leave. And so you want to make sure that that system is that the insulation over that specific bedroom is adequate. So that way you're not losing to the attic space. And so I would check that. I would look at windows, make sure you don't have any leaking windows, weatherization, make sure everything's sealed up. Those are some other things that you can do, and that's a very easy thing for you to be able to see as far as the windows and the feeling. And so, and a general rule of thumb on insulation is if you could see the the ceiling joists that run across your ceiling, that means your insulation is not nearly where it needs to be. And so I would make sure that you've got plenty of insulation in the house. And so that can help with the hot and cold spots. A quick recap over everything that we discussed. So to help you fix hot and cold spots within the house, make sure a ductwork is connected, you don't have any disconnections. Make sure that dampers are open to those areas, and then make sure that that there's nothing closed off. And then if you feel like you need to add a duct to a specific room, that's not out of the question. You can do that as long as you have access and whatnot. And I would typically hire a professional to come do that. And so, and then last, make sure return air is sized appropriately, and make sure you're getting enough airflow back to the system to help redistribute to the rest of the house. I hope that this kind of schematic was helpful in answering the question on how you can fix the hot and cold spots within the house. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to leave a comment down below and hit the like and subscribe button. If you're within the Oklahoma City metro area and you need services to help fix those hot and cold spots, you need a professional to come out and do some deep diving on how we can do that, then we'd love to be your team. And so scan that QR code up top, and then you guys have a fantastic day.
Yarbrough and Sons, Yarbrough and Sons, these are the folks you should know. Don't need